Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man, a disc golf audio podcast brought to you by Dynamic Discs, where we want to help you become a better disc golfer. Alrighty then, it's Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and remoted in I have Robert McCall. Eric McCabe is out on assignment right now. It is the second week of November, and we are getting closer to bringing you the podcast live. I want to thank you guys so much for your patience as we're figuring out this new format with the different segments, and hopefully you are enjoying this segments. But we want to make sure we bring you a lot of content to help you become a better disc golfer. And I got a favor to ask you. If you have time, be sure to go and rate and review our show on iTunes. Also, share to your social media feed that you listen to the show. Or if you're watching it on YouTube, make sure you share that out as well. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Also, keep telling us about those new Torchy's tacos. I had a guy, Wesley Wilson, on Facebook post a link to an article about a new one going up in Memphis, Tennessee. That gives a good reason, Robert, to go out to Jonesboro Open, huh?
Yeah, I can throw far enough to play at Jonesboro, so
yes.
That's great.
And I can and I can fly out just to see. Well, that's right in Arkansas. I guess I could drive out there, but I'm willing to drive for some Torchy's tacos.
Well, yeah, of course.
Anyway, so how are you doing, Robert?
Man, doing well. Just baby life is my life now.
Yeah.
But I quite like the new intro to the show. That's just alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, it works great.
Hey,
Everyone's pleased.
I like to just make up new intros and outros and just make up words as I go as well.
Yeah, switch it up. No, yeah, life is good. Just here at home, taking care of the baby man and working away on the computer.
Nice. Well, I got the chance to play some disc golf at the Freedom Fest. This is, of course, Emporia, Kansas, nice. Where we are the founding city of Veterans Day, so they like to do it up for Veterans Day celebration all week. Now, of course, with the pandemic, things were quite a bit different, not as much as the fanfare as they used to be in years past, but I think they said between the runners and the bike racers, they had 170 people participate, and they actually broke them up into small groups or waves, as they call it, to kind of help with social distancing. And then I believe for our 9 o'clock and our 12 o'clock time, where we held a disc golf event out at Soden's Grove, we had 34 at each event. So a lot of that good money goes to help the veterans programs here in Emporia, Kansas. So, and of course, Dynamic Discs is proud to be part of that. Did you get to do anything outside with the nice weather, Robert?
I played pickleball a little bit.
Yeah,
that was fun. Just for a few games, not much. Although Owen's kind of been a champ when I've taken him out there, which is cool. But then I want him to do that at home, like where he can just sleep.
Maybe just leave him out at the pickleball court.
Great.
Maybe
No. To fend for himself amongst the wolves.
Right.
that run rampant around Hammond Park.
Nice.
No, yeah, that was pretty much the only outdoor thing we did all weekend. We were mostly just here the rest of the time.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, as typical for a disc golf show, we like to talk about disc golf. So we're going to hop into some disc golf questions. Guys, as always, go to discgolfanswerman.com and submit your disc golf question. We will try to get it on the show. This first one is, get to my notes. This is from Corn Dog.
Corn Dog.
Not dog, Corn Dog.
Oh, like D-A-W-G.
Yeah. He says, hey, all, what are your thoughts on novelty tournaments, such as the Japan Open with a weight limit on discs? Should we have more variety in formats or less? And he wants us to keep it real. I wouldn't say the Japan Open is a novelty. That's just their rules they have in place for, well, according to them, for safety reasons, right? Can you kind of explain that, Robert?
Well, and that they play on golf courses too. Yeah. So the Japan Open is played on a traditional golf course. So they use 150 gram class discs so that they don't damage the course as much. I think there's a safety element to it as well, but as far as I know, that I thought it was the reason was so that they didn't damage the course. So it's a novelty in that's the only place that does it like that, but it's not like a miniature golf course where there's windmills and this is just that course's windmill or that event's windmill.
Yeah.
I do think it's cool to have tournaments with different I don't know, different stuff like that, like the ultimate tournament that's coming up soon, where you use ultimate frisbees on a disc golf course. I think that's cool. I've never gotten to play a super class event, but I would play one of those. I think that'd be fun. I really like team events. I don't think we have enough of those. I've had a great time playing triples events, or even like I've been on a 9-man team before, with different divisions for match play. So yeah, any of those things I really like. If you're just making restrictions for the sake of making restrictions, I'm not a big fan of that. Like a couple of weeks ago, Eric McCabe talked about at La Mirada, they had so many Mandos, just kind of for the sake of having. I'm not a big fan of that. But yeah, switching up the format from time to time, I like it.
Yeah, I think they have their place. I don't know that we'll see them at like with big coverage or something like that on ESPN. That's not something we want to push for with the sport, but I think they have their place. Now, when I think of novelty, I think of courses such as we have in Cottonwood Falls, where you throw through the tire in one of them, and then just weird obstacles in the way. I played that with my grandson. He really liked it, and it was fun. But yeah, definitely don't want to see a lot of that going around as far as courses. But I think it's fun. It has its place for just some recreational type stuff.
For sure. And that junior course really is cool.
Yeah, it is fun. Next one is from Nick. Hey, Disc Golf fam. I had a question regarding putter firmness and how the disc flies. I was recently practicing with my judges and a couple wizards that I had. One is a 4 and the other is unmarked. 4? Is that a wizard marking or something? 4s?
I didn't know that.
Oh, one is a 4S or 4s, and the other is
super. That he's talking about like a super stupid, super soft, or whatever it is.
Is that what they? I guess that's a rating for the wizard.
I thought it was super stupid soft was like 3 S's, so that might be one.
Okay. I'm not familiar with wizards, so anyway. And the other is unmarked, and the plastic label from the factory written in Sharpie is worn off too. Anyway, besides feel, does a softer or harder putter fly different in normal conditions, windy conditions, or rainy conditions? I'm just wondering because the 4S putter can literally be folded in half, and I wasn't sure if the softness makes it more prone to wobble. Thanks for all you do.
I'm not sure the softness makes it more prone to wobble, but I know that discs that are softer beat in to look more like mountain ranges. Like if you've seen someone throw a soft harp or a soft suspect or something, once they get beat in, it's just they just have like waves in them. And there is something to do with the softness of the plastic on that. I never noticed that makes the disc fly with more wobble. That's just the way that it looks when they work in. Yeah, I mean, I think I mostly throw firm plastic I putt with firm plastic putters, classic hard putters. But I throw classic blend wardens, and I haven't noticed really any difference in flight between the two of them. It's just feel more than anything else.
Gotcha. Yeah, you mentioned the weird waves. I played doubles with Doug Bjerkes at a company function, and he was throwing his super soft Judge that he loves. And as soon as I picked it up, I was like, what is wrong with this thing? But I mean, obviously it flies the way he loves the way it flies. So, all right, next one is from Matt. I purchased a Recruit light basket and I'm really liking it. Awesome. Nice. From what I found, it meets all of the specifications to be PDGA approved, but it's not. Is there a process that manufacturers have to go through to get baskets approved? And what is that process like?
Yes, there is. And it's really similar to the disc approval process. Basically, you just send a copy or a few copies to the tech standards team at the PDGA, and they say whether it's approved or not. I think that we're in the process of doing that with the Recruit Lite. I don't think it's been approved yet. We're either in the process, or now that we have more than just a few in stock, we're setting a couple aside to send over to them. But that is something that we plan to do in the future. But it is made to the technical standards of the PDGA. So while it's not PDGA approved, it's made like baskets that are.
I guess I was imagining like some kind of like boot camp where like the baskets have to go and do all kinds of tests and runs and confidence courses and stuff like that to get approved. That's probably not the way it happens.
It's less of the team building and more of just like measuring.
Correct. Yes. Okay. All right. So you guys have been enjoying Danny's disc golf tips that we put in here. So we had Danny create some more. This time he's going to talk about straight shots. So let's learn a bit about disc golf from Danny.
The straight shot is the hardest shot in disc golf. Let's take a look at how to master them. Straight shots can look simple because you can see the basket and most of the trees you need to avoid, but executing them is a different story. The goal of a straight shot is to keep the disc as flat as possible for as long as possible. So the straightest throw is one that starts on hyzer, flips past flat to a little bit of anhyzer, and then the fade keeps it straight for as long as possible before a gentle finish. So given that, overstable discs aren't a great choice because they'll fade sooner and take themselves off that straight line. But also, a super understable disc isn't ideal either, because it will be harder to get on that flat angle without flipping all the way over and finishing right. So just based on the finish, we want a disc that is towards the understable side without being too understable. Slower discs will always be easier to throw straight shots with. That's because faster discs fade harder, so they need more anhyzer angle at the beginning, and they end up flying a wider S shot rather than a straight shot. Putters, on the other hand, if they're anywhere close to flat, they'll just fly straight. So usually the most consistent result is going to be to throw the slowest disc you can reach a hole with if you're trying to get that super straight shot. About the fastest I go while trying to throw straight is an 8 or 9 speed fairway driver like the new Latitude 64 SPZ3. The SPZ3 is a good speed and a great stability for that straight shot. It has a little bit of turn, so it's easy to get to flip to that perfect angle, and then the fade isn't too strong to pull it too far offline at the end. When focusing so much on getting a flat shot, it can be easy to start the disc too flat and turn it over too much. So knowing your disc is really important for this shot. Also, if you're struggling with a nose-up release, straight shots are going to be a challenge as well because the nose-up exaggerates the fade of a disc and makes it harder to get turn. So those are my tips to throw a shot as straight as possible. Let me know your favorite disc to throw for the straight shot in the comments or on my post in the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group. And make sure to stay tuned to Disc Golf Audio for more tips on how to become a better disc golfer.
Robert, have you heard of our Physics of Flight series on YouTube?
I personally have heard of our Physics of Flight series.
Right, Robert. But did you know that this series has Danny, along with some of our team players, breaking down aspects of form and technique in an in-depth series that helps you become a better disc golfer? Did you know that?
Wow. Now that you put it that way, I didn't know that.
Well, let me share some more information on it. You can also you can also go to youtube.com/dynamicdiscs and search for Physics of Flight and see a playlist of roughly 15 videos on all kinds of tips and tricks to help you become a better disc golfer.
Wow. I'm interested.
Are you interested? You should go check it out. But after the show.
I haven't been on any of those, so okay. I'm interested in watching all of them.
I figured you would be. All right, Let's get back to the question. This one is from Agent Scarn.
Oh, Michael Scarn.
Yes. So I wish we had the music from the show. What's up, Disc Golf Answer Man fam? I found an interesting disc at my local shop, an Opto Hex Missilen. Yep. I'm finding limited info on this disc, and it seems to be out of stock everywhere. So much someone has offered me twice what I paid for. What's the big deal with this disc? Or in other words, why'd I do that?
Well, first of all, you should just sell it.
Yeah.
If someone offered to pay you twice what you paid for it, sell that thing, man. That's a good play. All right, so the Opto Hex technology is something that Latitude 64 came up with a little while ago. This would be a few years now, with the idea of trying to get more distance by creating less drag on the surface of the disc. I believe that's it. And they were trying to kind of pattern it after dimples on a golf ball, right? So they've got the textured surface and then a couple of thumb placement kind of smooth parts. And the discs actually, if you could get the Missilen up to speed, it went really, really far, but it was extremely touchy. It was kind of high speed understable, but low speed overstable. So to find the perfect spot for it to make that technology really work for you was kind of hard to get the exact right spot for that. So for that reason, they made the Missilen and the Rakuten. maybe they pronounced it differently. I don't remember. But those were the 2 discs that they did. And they did fine for a little while, but they just didn't give enough of an improvement for players to say, I'll deal with the inconsistency to get that kind of distance improvement. So right now they're out of production. So you do have an out of production disc, and if somebody wants to buy it for twice what you paid, yeah, do that.
Sell it. Shoot. All right, next one comes from Wesley. Distance is the most important thing in disc golf.
Okay.
An example of this is Eric McCabe shouldn't lose to Bobby in a round of disc golf 9 times out of 10. I scoff at this. The reason is, even in a tightly wooded course, if Bobby throws a perfect line, which I always do, and lands 50 feet short on a 350-foot hole, and Eric throws a bad shot, which he always does, and gets a bad kick 50 feet down the fairway, but has a slight opening in the trees, Eric can smash a shot the rest of the way, and even if he hits branches, his power will keep his disc pushing to a putt. Putt. Missed the T there. Distance is only not important against someone with your similar distance, such as noodle arm versus noodle arm. I thought about this in work and hope you guys enjoy the thought experiment. So what do you think of that experiment, Robert? Fact or fiction?
Okay, well, fiction, but there's a small amount of truth to it. Okay, so if you're comparing players on vastly different skill levels, then yeah, you could say distance would be more important. Because even if you took, let's say, a person who could throw 500 feet, but they weren't a great putter, and you took someone who could only throw 200 feet but they were a fantastic putter, if you're playing a 550-foot hole, the person who's throwing 200 feet every time, even if they throw it accurately, it's going to take them 3 shots to get up to the basket and then putt in. The person who's throwing 500 feet can throw it, lay up, and take a 3. The other person is never going to take better than a 4. That's assuming that they throw perfect shots. Okay. But that's a pretty big distance disparity. I would say that distance is not the most important thing, because if it were, then the guys who throw the farthest would win every single tournament. And they don't. Like, Double G is one of the longest throwers in the world, and he wins sometimes. I mean, he's up there, but he's not winning every single time. And it's because he can throw the disc a very long way, and he's got good control, but he's just not the best putter. He's a good putter, but compared to some of the other people at the top level, he's not really hanging with them. I think that same thing would apply to even a shorter distance disparity, right? So if someone could throw 350 but wasn't a good putter, and the other person could throw 300 and they were a good putter, I'd take the 300-foot thrower every time. That 50 extra feet isn't going to make the biggest difference. And then to address one other thing, you said if Eric hits a tree, then he can just power through branches. I don't think that's how that works.
Not any of the trees I've encountered.
Right. I've tried to throw hard through branches before, and it, like, if I threw it hard or soft, the same branches, as long as they're not, super duper thin, right, still knock your disc down, whether it's going fast or not. In fact, sometimes throwing fast into branches is a detriment to you because it kicks further offline. So I don't think distance is the most important thing in disc golf. I do think it's important, but it's not the most important thing.
Okay, in your opinion, let's do a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being distance is not important at all, not a big deal. 10 being it's the most important thing in disc golf for you to succeed. What do you give distance?
It's like a 6 or a 7.
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting the way that it works statistically. Before you get up to the pro level, I would say distance is a 6 or a 7 and short game is an 8 or a 9, right? Once you get to the top level, distance probably goes up some, because statistically we're seeing the players that score best are the ones that get the most birdie looks. Right. And usually the ones that get the most birdie looks are accurate throwers, but they're also really long throwers because of the courses that those guys play on tour. If you're not playing those courses on the reg, then accuracy is more important than distance, and short game is even more important than that.
Gotcha. All right, next one comes from Adley. I currently carry a Commander U.S. flag version. Love the bag, but I do wish there was more storage. I'm also not a fan of the fact that if the bag were to tip forward, it is possible for all your discs can dump.
Yard sale.
Yeah, we like to call that yard sale. I've heard that a lot about the Commander. I've watched several reviews of the Paratrooper, and it seems like it could be a really good switch. More storage, completely enclosed if you want a bigger beverage holders. My main worry is quality. I got some great feedback from the DeGam Facebook page, but I would love to hear from one of you on this topic. Thanks, and keep it real.
Yeah, the Paratrooper. So if you're looking for the differences in quality between the Paratrooper and the Commander, they're pretty similar as far as quality goes. I think the Commander may have slightly more padded straps and maybe a little bit better carry handle, but those, in my opinion, are pretty minimal differences. The big difference is that the Paratrooper just has so much extra space. Like the Commander can carry a lot of discs, but not a lot of stuff outside of discs.
Right.
So if you don't need a lot of extra storage, if you don't need, a base layer or a jacket or a bunch of towels, then the Commander is great for that. If you just want to carry a whole bunch of discs, it's perfect for that. But if you want to carry some extra stuff, I like the Paratrooper for that personally. And I think the build quality is really good. I mean, it for me honestly hits a price point and value point that is better than any other bag on the market. For the value, for the price that we're asking for the bag, the value that you get is better than any other bag on the market. These are the facts.
Yeah. If you need even more in-depth information on that particular bag or just about any bag we have, go to our website, dynamicdiscs.com, search for that bag. And I believe Danny has reviewed every one of the Dynamic Discs bag, including the Trooper or the Paratrooper. So you'll see that video in the listing. So if you want to get even more information.
Well, and there's one video that he did recently that compares all of the bags. So you can see the difference between the Commander and the Paratrooper next to one another.
Yeah. So October 31st was the last weekend for the Trilogy Challenges, and we had 229 Trilogy Challenges over the course of 2020 and in 42 states and 13 countries.
Nice.
Yeah, that was really good for, especially during the pandemic. So really good stuff there. I'm looking forward for 2021 Trilogy Challenge. But a lot of people are super excited about the discs that came in the Trilogy Challenge, and we would always get questions. Even on Facebook, I would get messages. People say, when can I get a bounty? When can I get this? When I can get that? And one of the ones was the Latitude 64 SPZ3, and that is available right now for purchase at dynamicdisc.com or your favorite retailer. But in this Anthony's disc review, he takes a 1-minute review on the Latitude 64 SPZ3. So let's hear Anthony's breakdown of this much anticipated disc.
The 2020 Trilogy Challenge discs here on the Disc Golf Answerman brings us to the driver, the Latitude 64 SPZ3 Superhero. The SPZ3 is a fairway driver made for easy distance. The combination of speed and glide gives you more control as you can power down and land safely next to the basket. With speed 9, glide 6, turn -1, and fade 2, the SPZ3 is a disc that can be thrown by anyone on just about any line. When thrown on a hyzer, you'll get the SPZ3 to stand up and fly dead straight. If thrown with enough power, you'll even get some turn to the right. On a flat release, the Superhero will drift to the right and gently settle back to the left as it slows down. Turnovers are made absolutely effortless thanks to the glide and desire to turn over that the SPZ3 provides. The SPZ3 Superhero was designed to give newer players some added distance while not sacrificing any control or accuracy for more advanced players. Pick yours up today at dynamicdiscs.com or your favorite local retailer.
All right, so guys, if you are interested, if you played in a Trilogy Challenge, or if you didn't and you really like what Anthony had to say about the Latitude 64 SPZ3, make sure you check it out. Again, dynamicdiscs.com or your favorite retailer. Now, my understanding right now, it's just in, what was the plastic for that? Do you remember?
They had both Lucid and, pardon me, Opto and I'm blanking.
Gold line? Oh, okay. Okay, so it's probably available in those all those plastics as well. And I'm sure here pretty soon. Well, maybe not by the end of the year, but they'll have a stock stamp for it. Is what I'm getting at.
If not by the end of the year, we'll have it sometime soon. It's a great disc.
Yeah, so be sure to check that out. All right, well, we shared some exciting news. By the time you hear this or see this, we have shared some super exciting news about the Glass Blown Open on our social media feeds. Make sure you follow us, guys. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, follow us. But we wanted to hear from Jeremy Rusco, our CEO, on this big news. So during today's that sounds like a weird name. Roberts Players Interviews.
Yes, today's Roberts Players Interviews is with the
that's
CEO.
Gonna be that's going to be the name from now on.
Ways.
Roberts Players Interviews with Jeremy Rusco. Let's see
nice, good.
Jeremy had to say.
It's going good, Robert. How you doing?
Awesome, doing well. I think we're probably fighting similar battles here, just trying to keep our children asleep for just a few minutes so we can talk about some stuff.
That's right.
All right, so we've had a pretty big announcement this week, and that's that we're changing the name of the Glass Blown Open to the Dynamic Discs Open. I just wanted to talk with you just a minute about that because this has been kind of a big part of what DD has done over the last, several years. So talk us through that decision, kind of what went into it and the reasons behind it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, big decision for us. Lots of thought went into the decision, lots of conversation. And, Dynamic Disc has a long tradition of being the host of the Glass Blown Open.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually where I got my start as a competitive disc golfer, and really where I got the drive to and the passion for disc golf was when Eric McCabe said, "Hey man, you need to play in the Glass Blown Open." That was back in 2005. And a couple days before the tournament, I did make that decision when he asked me to play. And a couple rounds, 4 rounds later, I took home my own very own Glass Blown Open trophy in the intermediate division.
Hey, whatever. It's a win is a win.
A win is a win. And it came down to the very last hole and the very last putt. Anyway, this is a very, very important event for Dynamic Discs, for Eric McCabe, and for myself and all of us at Dynamic Discs. And so anyway, we as we've grown through the years and as we've processed some things, and as we just recently came off of the success of this year's Disc Golf Pro Tour Dynamic Discs Open and not having a Glass Blown Open, I guess you could say that the stars aligned where we felt like it made sense to make a change as we look at the bigger picture of disc golf and we look at national network television starting to pick up disc golf coverage. We felt like Dynamic Discs Open was a little bit more synonymous with disc golf, and that was one of the decisions. So.
Yeah, and really not having to like you said, with a whole influx of new players come in, if someone hears Glass Blown Open, there's just questions like, why is it called that? Once you know, and then it's the biggest tournament in the world, and it's a festival and a party all in one, and a disc golf tournament. But if you don't know and you just hear about it for the first time, it's like, what is that? Yeah, so just for us to have a little bit more recognition for new people, I think is really cool. And we've seen a huge influx of players during COVID for sure.
Yeah, this has been a really exciting time for disc golf. It's unbelievable to think that it took a global pandemic to really shed so much positive light on just what a great sport, great activity that disc golf is. And yeah, we are excited for the future of disc golf. We're excited for the future of the Dynamic Discs Open, which is going to really, it's going to be no different to players.
Right.
It's going to be the Glass Blown Open with a Dynamic Disc Open title.
Right. So, all right. So that's a great question. What is going to be different? Is it just the name? Is everything else pretty much the same? Save COVID restrictions. We're going to have to make some adjustments for that.
Yeah, we're going to keep the rich traditions and histories of the Glass Blown Open as a part of the Dynamic Disc Open. We're still going to have Glass Blown Open trophies. We're still going to incorporate all of the Glass Blown Open festival event activities. assuming that we don't have those COVID restrictions come into next April 2021. And I would like to hope and expect that we won't, but you
fingers
never know.
Crossed.
Yeah. And ultimately, I mean, every year we grow the event. We do more stuff with the event now that we've brought on. And so Doug Bjerkus is our tournament director, event coordinator. We brought Brian Shintaku back to Dynamic Discs as event manager so that we can continue to do more stuff with the event. And they have been planning hard already, putting things onto paper and onto the computer so that we can make sure that we grow the event for 2021. And yeah, we're just really excited, and we love the passion that all the disc golfers have for the Glassbone Open, which is now Dynamic Discs Open, and we just fully expect that's going to carry on over to 2021 Dynamic Discs Open.
Absolutely. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, one of the things that we talk about on the podcast, once GBO's done every year and we're back in the office and people in the chat are just like, hey, are you guys tired? You know, are you taking a break? It's like, yeah, we're definitely tired. Yes. Are we taking a break? Not really. Like, we kind of just start planning for the next GBO. I mean, pretty much the next week we do a postmortem of this year's tournament, and then say what can we change for next year's tournament. And yeah, that's something that I think, yeah, credit Doug and you and now Brian for taking on the role of improving this tournament year over year. If you guys haven't made it out before, we are constantly working on improving it, and changing the name to Dynamic Discs Open won't change that at all. We're still wanting to put on the best event that we possibly can. So yeah, I think it's going to be great. We're excited to host some new disc golfers. What's the thing you look forward to the most, having not gotten to run GBO this year? What's the thing you miss the most that you're most excited to have people back for Dynamic Discs Open next year?
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, it's just such a fun time to celebrate the sport of disc golf. I love having so many people in Emporia, in Dynamic Discs headquarters, in our backyard. It's just so fun to interact with so many friends, family, making new relationships, giving hugs to, hopefully giving hugs.
I hope so.
To all the friends and family that come in. And I think that personal interaction that we get with so many players, where we show them the warehouse, they get to see the retail store, they get to have fun at all of our events that go on. The bonfire is such a cool Friday night activity for us, and then to cap everything off with all the spectating out at the Emporia Country Club for the last round of the professional divisions, and then the downtown block party. I mean, it's just such a special week, and we burn ourselves out to a certain degree. I know that most people's favorite hashtag come Sunday is GB over.
GB over.
I don't know if
over works fine too.
Over.
Well, no, but then that'll start rumors like, we're shutting down. Oh no, DD over.
I never thought about that one.
It'll be fine. Well, we've heard those rumors before, and we're still going pretty well.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun to see everybody again. Can't wait for 2021 Dynamic Discs Open. If you haven't made it to Emporia, Kansas, Dynamic Discs headquarters, I tell you what, you're missing out. It is Disc Golf Disneyland. We like to think of it as the disc golf capital of the world. And come on, let's go.
Yeah, April 2021, put it on your calendars. Dynamic Discs Open, largest disc golf tournament in the world. Jeremy, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. And go.
Still giving out glass trophies.
Get your chance at winning a Glassbone trophy. All right, we'll see you, man.
All right, so super exciting stuff happening for, now the Dynamic Discs Open. So, guys, if you want to get more information, now you go for now, we're going to have it to where if you have like saved links or anything you find you are used to as far as Glassbone Open, it'll redirect you to Dynamic Discs Open. Actually, as I say that, the Facebook page, if you go there. Now, if you liked the Glassbone Open page, you will still be a follower of the new Dynamic Discs Open page. But any links you have that go to that will now kind of be, they will be broken. So make sure you search for Dynamic Discs Open and put that as a new link if you have that link somewhere. But yeah, all kinds of new stuff you're going to see, new logo, same colors and stuff like that. But super exciting for the event. It's still going to be a fantastic event, as always. Well, the PDGA, Robert, has released the 2021 A-tier schedule. The PDGA 2021 tour schedule consists of 10 PDGA majors, 6 NTs or national tours, 12 Disc Golf Pro Tour events, and 6 Euro Tour events, and 137 other A-tiers. There is one international major, which is the European Open in Nokia, Finland. That is a lot of tournaments throughout the year, and at least 3 A-tiers or above for every weekend. I did some quick math. 3 A-tiers or above for every weekend in 2021. The PDGA has what they call...
I was just thinking, -1, that's 3 quick math.
Quick math. The PDGA has what they call the Elite Series, which is a combination of the PDGA NTs and the Disc Golf Pro Tour events. 18 events that start late February and end mid-October. Touring players put a lot of miles on their vehicles to get to these events. Now, Robert, you and I have traveled before. We've flown, we've driven. Did you go to the one when we drove the RV to Arizona and it was a 20-something hour drive?
Yep.
Yes. So I can only imagine
we did it in the new RV. Yeah. Me, you, Rusco, EMAC, Denise. That's who was in the RV that time.
That's right. And it was 20-something hour driving.
Long drive.
So I can't imagine what these touring pros go through when they have to travel throughout these cities and stuff like that to the events. But it's disc golf, and we love watching it. We love that they do it. Also, they put out the notable changes for the 2021 Tour Series. There's been some changes to the rules. A-tiers, and I thought this was interesting. See what your thoughts on this. A-tier TDs and assistant TDs may not play in their events. They must be non-playing officials. This is no longer a requirement that can be waived. Now, that is an interesting change.
I like it.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, if you're running the event, helping running the event as an assistant TD or a TD, you need to be on point. You need to be ready to go, answer questions, make decisions at just about any time. You can't be out playing. I wonder, though, if if a few A-tier TDs have already planned on playing some of the events, this is going to change it for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always kind of been perplexed by tournament directors that run an event and play in the event. It just seems like that would be a lot for me. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it would kind of be overload on your brain. So this makes a lot of sense for A-tiers. These are our next two national tours. There are national tours and majors and pro tour events. They're our highest level of event. And so, we're not trying to have those be even the slightest bit unprofessional. Just, it's going to stink, but for this one event a year that you're running, you don't get to play. I think that's the right call. I like it.
Another notable change that I wrote down, the tournament director must provide 2 scorecards to each group to be kept independently of each other. These scorecards may be of the same medium or of a different media. The 2 scorecards must be reconciled by the group and submitted by whichever method the tournament director has designated as the official scoring method for the tournament. Now, I simply just copied and pasted this from the new tour standards, and I at first I was like, is this for real? I mean, they're gonna have to provide 2 scorecards, but I guess with the UDisc coming into play and doing live scoring and things like that, I imagine that's going to be not such a big deal to have 2 methods of keeping score.
Right.
I know we did at the Freedom Fest, we did some live scoring, and that was just kind of to follow the whole social media. I keep trying to say social media distancing. Social distancing. But we had one guy keep score the entire time. We just, of course, rattled off our scores, and he put them in. And I could even go in and look myself and see as he updated the scores. So I imagine live scoring is going to become more and more prominent in some of these events.
Yeah, I would think so. And that's happening because the PDGA has their own live scoring as well now. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Having 2 paper scorecards and reconciling them, okay, that's good. But having a paper scorecard and a digital one that adds the scores up for you, I think it just decreases the opportunity for human error. And I like that idea. I mean, I've had scorecards turned in incorrectly a couple of times. My very first tournament round ever, I turned my scorecard in incorrectly. and that sucks. Like there's nothing worse than having not played a good round, which is almost always when it happens, and then it's actually 2 or 3 shots worse than you thought because you added your scorecard up incorrectly. So I like this idea. I think it's good.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed was a modification to one of the rules, Rule 806.05.b, hazard. A disc is in a hazard if its position is clearly, and the change they added the word completely, surrounded by the hazard, or, this is added, by a combination of the hazard and an out-of-bounds area. I mean, I don't know how much this is going to be into play, but I just thought it was interesting that they added words to it.
Yeah, maybe that's just for the sake of clarity. I think that if it's clearly out of bounds, I don't know. I guess there might be some people who would argue like 99%, if they didn't know any better, 99% of the disc is out of bounds, so it's clearly out of bounds. So if they say the word completely, then that means that the entire disc has to be out of bounds. Maybe there's just less gray area there.
Also,
I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting change.
Yeah, and also they noted to foster the growth of the sport, the PDGA highly recommends the TD provide for the following divisions at all PDGA sanctioned events: female-only divisions, junior divisions, and senior age 50 and older divisions. So, guys, it's your responsibility to know the rules when you play in a PDGA sanctioned event. Sure, you'll go to a players meeting, you'll have a caddy book, it'll tell you about the course. The tournament director is there to enforce the rules, but it's up to you to know the rules. So make sure you check out pdga.com. Look for, I can't remember, I think it was just like a story or a posting on their website on the front page, but make sure you check out the new tour standards for 2021 and make sure you know everything that's going on there. All right, well, we have one last question for this show. This one's from Jonathan. He says, I'm 15 and slowly creating a bag at the moment, and I have secured my kids. But at what? Wait. Okay, guys, proofread. I am 15 and slowly creating a bag at the moment. I have secured, I'm assuming, my discs, not my kids. Probably not at 15. Probably. Mids, maybe mids. But at, here we go, mids. But struggling with my putters, and I putt with a PA3 and throw a crater from Storm Disc Golf, slightly overstable. But cannot figure out what other putters to get. I'm looking for an EMAC-like putter that only slightly flips up but has a straight flight. An understable putter and a stupid overstable putter. Thank you for looking at my question and keep it real.
Stupid overstable.
Stupid.
All right. Well, you've come to the right place to ask for a putter
stupid
that goes very
stuff.
Straight.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because it's the Warden. I truly believe, and I've said this before, this isn't just like, I don't get royalties when Wardens sell, by the way. I just really think it's a great disc that you guys know of. I'll go ahead and cash in on those royalties later. But no, it's just a point and shoot. Like, you throw the Warden straight and it goes straight, and it's got maybe the smallest amount of fade at the end. So it's a great. It's like you said, you're looking for a shorter EMAC. I think that's a disc that really fits that mold. For an understable putter, I like the Deputy a whole lot. Similar feel to the Warden as far as depth goes, but just easy to turn to the right. If you've tried the Deputy and it's a little too understable for you, then you might try the Keystone from Latitude 64. It kind of sits in between the Warden and the Deputy instability. And then on the stupid overstable side, you should look at a Slammer from Dynamic Discs or a Harp from Westside Discs. Slammer if you like the thumb track, Harp if you don't. Both great overstable approach putters. Those are the ones that I would tell you to try. If you're looking for one not quite as overstable as those, the Shield from Westside Discs is another good overstable putter, but not like really dumpy overstable. So those are the ones I'd suggest.
Excellent. All right, well, that's all the time we have for this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. We appreciate you guys sending in those questions. Keep them coming in. Make sure you rate and review us on iTunes. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Share it out. Tell your friends about the podcast. And let us know if you really are enjoying the new segments. We will have more fun segments for you in future episodes for sure. All right, Robert, you have a wonderful rest of the day. And guys, we'll see you on the next episode.
See you guys.